Hey guys, it's Steph, the Meadows Cowgirl, and today we're going to work on how to pivot on the front and hind end. Alright guys, in today's lesson, we're going to be working with your horse on how to move the front and hind end separately, and how we do that with our legs, our seat, and our hands as our guide. You'll see that some trainers, they like to have a box that they put their foot in on the horse's side. So like they'll say, bring your leg forward to move the front end, center just to move them over, and back to move the hind end, which you can get it done that way. I find that you can get the same result by just using your leg where it is, and your seat has a really big play into telling your horse which end they're gonna need to move. For example, if I'm going to lean forward in the saddle, and I'm kind of exaggerating, and I will exaggerate when I'm first working with the horse on it, is when I lean forward, I'm telling them to take the weight off their hind end. If I'm going to sit back, I'm telling them to take the weight off their front end. So by using our weight and your hands and your legs all together, you're able to accomplish those super cool maneuver techniques. These are really important techniques to learn because they really build a solid foundation for if you want to get into the ranch world or reining, or even if you just have to open a gate, you should know how to move your horse's front and hind end. And these are the precursors to get your horse to learn how to do a rollback and a quick turnaround. Okay, we're gonna start by moving the hind end around, where Stella has to keep her weight on one of her front legs and pivots around in a circle. This is usually easier for horses to start with because some horses are heavier on the front end and it's harder for them to put the weight on their hind end. So if you have a fence or an arena wall or something to work with, that will be a good place to start. How I want to start with getting my horse to move their butt away from the wall is I'm going to have a slight bend to the wall, to the rail, and you don't want to pull their head. You're just going to offer a feel. I'm going to tip my weight forward a little bit on my pelvis, and I'm going to use my left heel against her rib cage. And if she starts to walk too much, I'll come in with a little bit of pressure and tell her, nope, don't do that. I want you to just stay. So here, I'm gonna ask her to go around. She's looking. I'm gonna sit forward, left leg, and stop. Now if I want her to do again, she's looking. She's already anticipating. So I don't want my horse to anticipate. I want them to wait for me to ask them. So I'm gonna offer a feel to the left. I'm gonna look, shift my weight, left leg, and I'm telling her to don't move your front end forward. I'm just saying stop. She's trying to anticipate before I ask her to do it, and you're gonna find that some horses will try to do that. So now I'm gonna have her butt come the other direction towards my left to the inside of the arena, but it's important to keep in mind that while I'm using this leg to push against her rib cage, this leg needs to stay relaxed. A lot of people will want to push their leg like this out. You want to just keep it relaxed, because if you're doing that and there's a brace in your body, you're hindering your horse and you're putting a brace in them. So I'm going to ask her to move her butt, and I'm just going to relax this leg, and I can still get it done by just staying nice and relaxed. And again, she just wants to anticipate because she's used to doing more. Now I'm going to have her go again, another quarter turn. And it's nice to be able to break it down into quarter turns. So I'm gonna have her look. Good, I'm gonna sit forward. And now she wants to walk forward, so I said, no, just move your butt. Stella's a little rusty. It's been a little bit since I've ridden her after having a baby, and then she was sick. So we're getting back into the swing of things. So she's wanting to anticipate more, and she's used to going faster. So we're gonna speed it up a little bit, and we'll see how she does. So this time I'm just gonna ask her to do a full 180 instead of a quarter turn on her front end. So I'm going to have her pivot on her front end. So I'm going to use my left leg, have her look to the rail a little bit, and if she starts to go forward, I'm going to come in with my right rein and tell her no, and my left rein, and bring her that way. Now I'm going to have her come back the other direction. And sometimes I like to put a little more, so like say I want her to stay on this foot, I may lean on that foot just a little bit to tell her to keep it planted. So like if I'm gonna be on this direction, I'm telling her keep your left front planted. And I've got a little bit more weight here to get her to move around on that one leg. Okay, so now that we've done pivoting on the front end, we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna do pivoting on the hind end. So how I like to teach my horses first to do it is to back them up. I'm gonna wait for them to get the weight on their hind end. And in that movement, while they're taking that step, I'm going to shift my body, I'm going to look where I'm going, and I'm gonna use my leg to push them away. She got a little stuck because I quit my energy. So again, while they're backing up in that movement, it helps them to keep the energy going, versus if they stop, then they're gonna get stuck. And a lot of horses will just fall back onto the front end. So you wanna be able to keep that weight on their hind end to keep them moving. And this is also, again, where the wall can come into play, where I'm gonna look to my left, use my right leg, and have her move over that way. Sometimes I have to use a little more weight with my heel. And the spurs are nice. They're a tool. They're not used to really hammer on your horse. They're more of like pressure versus a fist without spurs versus a finger poke like that. So I'm not kicking my horse to move. I'm just using pressure and release. All right, we're gonna do it a couple more times. So while I'm backing her up and going to the right to move her front end around to the right, if she starts to go too far forward on her front end, I'm gonna slow her down with my left rein, and my right rein opens up to tell her where to go. My left rein keeps her back on her butt. Now I'm gonna go the other direction. We're gonna go left, back her up a little bit. My right rein comes back, my right leg comes on her. My left rein is just opening, telling her to move around. I'm looking where I wanna go, and I'm doing a little bit more just so I can show you guys, is I'm keeping my weight back on my butt cheeks, and I'm getting her to move around. You don't want to have a bend in your horse's head like this, because then it kind of makes their butt spin around. You do want a slight bend, but not a ton. So I'll have her come back towards the camera again. Back her up, back her up. I'm preparing by looking. My hands go to the right, my left leg comes on. She's got a slight bend to the right so that she can go. You don't want to keep them too straight. So here, I like my horses soft. She fell forward there, so I asked her to come back. Stay weight on your butt. There. Good job, Deli. She wants to be a ranch pony. Yeah. She likes to chase the cows. Now when you guys get really good at this, we can do it so that we do the front end, the hind end, the front end, the hind end. So I like to kind of sometimes switch it up. Like you go down the rail, move the front end, move the hind end, move the front end, move the hind end. So it gets kind of fun. You can do like a game with it. And sometimes your horses get into it too. So we're gonna do it real quick. All right, I'm gonna ask her to move the front end, or the hind end, the hind end, the front end. Now I'm gonna have her go back. It's a little sloppy. Try again. We're gonna stop. Hind end, front end. There you go. And now you can see how she keeps a nice little bend in her head, or her neck. Okay, we're gonna stop. Good. Hind end, front end. Try it again, one more time. And this is where the rail is good practice to keep your horse kind of straight, focus of where you want to go. Hind end, front end. That was a good one. Nice job, Stelly. Thanks guys for watching the video. Stella was a rock star, even though she's a little rusty. That's okay, we all need some time off, right? I hope you enjoyed the lesson. This is great foundation work to work with you and your horse on. And getting good at this stuff is gonna really help you to get better at those advanced techniques. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.